Hey, my friends, how's your heart today? Tonight, we journey to a place of stark beauty and profound spiritual resonance, the high plateaus of Tibet. We'll be gently exploring a tradition that speaks volumes about impermanence, compassion, and the interconnectedness of all life, the sky burial, but through the soft lens of a mindful sleep story, focusing on the wind and its compassionate return. Imagine the thin, clear air, the vast open skies that seem to stretch into eternity, and the distant silhouette of snow-capped mountains against a turquoise canvas. Perhaps a string of weathered prayer flags flutters in the constant breeze, their silent prayers carried across the immense landscape. Understanding the depths of such ancient practices in one lifetime, let alone one night, is a noble aim, but tonight our only aim is gentle curiosity and a peaceful descent into sleep. Before we dive deeper into the story, take a moment to like and subscribe, only if this journey feels worth it to you. And if your heart feels open tonight, share where you're listening from. It's a quiet joy to know how far our little circle reaches. Now go ahead and dim the lights, maybe switch on a fan for that gentle hum in the background, and let's slowly drift into tonight's story together. You find yourself arriving as if carried on the breath of a dream onto a vast windswept plateau. The air is noticeably thin cool and carries a crystalline clarity that makes the distant, jagged peaks of the Himalayas seem almost close enough to touch, yet also unimaginably remote. The ground beneath your feet is sparse, a hardy low-lying scrub clinging to the earth, interspersed with rock and patches of resilient grass, all painted in muted tones of ochre rust and pale green. Above you, the sky is an immense dome, a shade of blue so deep it feels as though you could fall upwards into it forever. And then there is the wind. It is a constant presence here, a defining characteristic of this high-altitude world. It's not a harsh, angry wind, not tonight. Instead, it's a singing wind, a sighing wind, one that seems to carry the dust of millennia, the echoes of ancient chants, the collective breath of countless beings who have lived and journeyed across this sacred land. It whispers around you, tugging gently at your clothes, brushing your cheeks with its cool fingers. This is the wind's distant song, the first voice you truly hear in this extraordinary place. You stand for a moment, simply taking it all in. There's a profound sense of space here, an almost overwhelming emptiness that isn't desolate, but rather full of potential, full of silence. It's the kind of silence that allows you to hear the beating of your own heart, the soft rhythm of your own breath. The sheer scale of the landscape has a way of putting things into perspective. Worries and anxieties that might have seemed so large and pressing just moments ago begin to shrink, dwarfed by the immensity of the mountains and the sky. This is a core teaching of such powerful places. The natural world is a mirror for the mind. Just as this plateau is vast and open, so too can your awareness become. The wind, as it moves across the plateau, seems to gather stories. Imagine it has swept through remote monasteries, listened to the murmur of mantras, felt the turning of prayer wheels, and carried the scent of juniper incense from solitary hermitages tucked high in the mountain crags. Now it brings these whispers to you. It speaks not in words, but in a language of sensation, of atmosphere. It carries a feeling of profound peace, but also a subtle, poignant awareness of the transient nature of all things. The very rocks around you, seemingly so permanent, are slowly being shaped and eroded by this same wind, this same weather, over eons. You might feel a sense of smallness in the face of such grandeur, and that's perfectly okay. Allow that feeling. It's not a diminishing smallness, but a humbling one, a recognition of your place within a vast, interconnected web of existence. This is a moment for self-compassion. You are simply a visitor, here an observer, invited to witness and to feel. There's no need to understand everything, no need to have any particular profound insight immediately. Just be present with what is the cool air, the endless sky, the sighing wind. As you begin to walk very slowly across the plateau, you notice the way the light plays on the landscape. Shadows lengthen and shift. The colors of the earth seem to deepen as the sun, though unseen, begins its slow descent towards the horizon. Every detail, when observed with gentle attention, becomes a point of focus, a small anchor in the vastness. A tiny, resilient purple flower pushing its way up between two stones. The intricate lichen patterns on an ancient rock. The way the wind makes the sparse grasses dance in unison. The wind continues its song, a lullaby of the high places. It seems to clear the mind, blowing away the dust of everyday concerns, creating a space for quiet contemplation. You are far from the noise and rush of the familiar world. Here time itself seems to stretch and slow down. Each breath feels more deliberate, more nourishing in the thin air. This initial arrival, this immersion in the stark wild beauty of the Tibetan plateau, is a preparation. It's an opening of the senses, an opening of the heart to the deeper story that is waiting to unfold, a story carried on the compassionate breath of this ancient knowing wind. You feel a sense of anticipation, not of anxiety, but of quiet readiness, as you allow the spirit of this place to seep into your very being, carried on that distant melodic song. The wind's distant song continues to accompany you, a constant soothing murmur in the vast expanse of the Tibetan plateau. As you walk drawn by an unseen current, your gaze is pulled towards a particular area, a slightly elevated rise in the land, crowned by a few weathered shortened stupas and a profusion of prayer flags, their vibrant colors, blue for sky, white for air, red for fire, green for water, and yellow for earth, snapping and fluttering in the ever-present breeze. It is from this direction that you sense a shift in the atmosphere, a deepening quietude. This is sacred mountain silence, and from a respectful distance, you observe a solemn gathering, feeling the profound stillness that emanates not just from the people, but from the very peaks that cradle this scene. You find a place to rest, perhaps on a sun-warmed rock outcrop that offers a discreet vantage point, far enough away not to intrude, yet close enough to feel the palpable gravity of the moment. The wind, though still present, seems to soften here, as if holding its breath in reverence. The figures you see are few, dressed in the traditional dark reds and saffrons of monastic robes, and some in the simple, hardy attire of the local people. Their movements are slow, deliberate, imbued with a sense of ritual and deep respect. There are no loud voices, no hurried actions, only a focused, shared intention that creates an almost tangible field of stillness. The core teaching that begins to unfold here, even before you understand the specifics of what is happening, is the power of shared silence and communal presence in the face of life's great mysteries, particularly death and transition. In many cultures, death is met with fear, with a desire to push it away, to sanitize it, to speak in hushed, uncomfortable tones. Here, though, there is a profound sense of acceptance, of meeting this ultimate transition with open eyes and a quiet heart. The silence is not an empty void, but a space filled with unspoken understanding, with shared humanity. You watch as the small group performs actions that are clearly part of a long-established tradition. There's a reverence in their movements, a deep sense of purpose. Even from this distance, you can feel the weight of centuries of practice of wisdom passed down through generations. The mountains themselves seem to participate in this silence, their ancient snow-capped peaks standing as silent witnesses, their immense presence a backdrop of enduring strength and timelessness. They have seen this ritual countless times, have held the space for countless beings making this final journey. Their stillness mirrors and amplifies the stillness of the human gathering below. Imagine the air around the group. It feels charged yet calm. It's the kind of atmosphere you might find in a very old sacred temple where the prayers of many have soaked into the very stones. This silence is not passive. It's an active container holding the solemnity, the grief, the acceptance, and the profound spiritual understanding that underpins the ritual. This is a moment for quiet reflection and self-compassion. You might notice your own feelings arising as you observe this scene. Perhaps a sense of curiosity or awe or even a touch of apprehension given the unfamiliarity. Allow these feelings to be there without judgment. You are simply bearing witness. Your role is to be present to observe with an open heart and a quiet mind. If any discomfort arises from the thought of death or unfamiliar customs, meet that discomfort with the same gentle kindness you've been cultivating. Remind yourself that this is a sacred tradition born of a deep understanding of life and death, even if it is different from your own. Consider the power of silence in your own life. How often do you truly allow for deep silence, for a cessation of outer and inner noise? In those moments of quiet, what do you discover? Often it is in silence that we can hear the deeper truths, the subtle whispers of our own hearts, the echoes of something larger than ourselves. This sacred mountain silence you are witnessing is an invitation to find that stillness within yourself, to connect with the part of you that is calm and undisturbed by the surface agitations of life. The prayer flags continue their dance, their colors, a vibrant contrast to the muted tones of the earth and the solemnity of the gathering. They are a reminder of the constant presence of prayer, of good wishes, of the aspiration for the well-being of all. Even in this place of profound silence, these flags speak volumes, their message carried on the wind to the far corners of the earth. As you sit in stillness, observing this distant sacred ritual begin to unfold, let the silence of the mountains seep into you. Let it calm your mind, soothe your heart. Feel the immense peace that can arise from simply being present without the need to fill the space with words or actions. This is a different kind of effort, the effort of receptive stillness, and it is a profound surrender, a surrender to the gravity of the moment, to the wisdom of ancient traditions, and to the deep unspoken truths that can only be heard in the heart of silence. The peaks stand sentinel, holding this sacred space, and you too become a part of that silent, watchful presence. The sacred mountain silence continues to envelop you, a profound stillness that seems to emanate from the very heart of the Himalayas. From your respectful vantage point, you observe the distant solemn gathering, and your gaze is naturally drawn upwards towards the vast expanse of the Tibetan sky. It is a canvas of breathtaking beauty and constant transformation, and as you watch, you begin to understand it as a living painting of impermanence, mirroring the transient nature of all life and inviting a deep, peaceful acceptance of this fundamental truth. The sky above the plateau is rarely static. One moment it might be a flawless, deep azure so clear it feels infinite. The next, wisps of cloud like brushstrokes of pure white begin to appear, drifting lazily from the west. They coalesce, forming larger, more complex shapes, sometimes resembling mythical creatures, sometimes vast, fluffy castles, sometimes soft, feathery veils. Then just as quickly they can begin to disperse, to thin out, to dissolve back into the blue, leaving no trace of their former grandeur. This constant, effortless play of formation and dissolution is impermanence made visible. The core teaching here is anicca, the Pali word for impermanence, one of the 3 marks of existence in Buddhism. It's the understanding that everything is in a constant state of flux. Nothing remains the same. Health, youth, possessions, relationships, thoughts, feelings, even the mountains themselves are subject to change and eventual cessation in their current form. This isn't a pessimistic view, but a realistic one. And when we truly understand and accept impermanence, it can lead to profound liberation from suffering, because much of our suffering comes from resisting change, from clinging to what is inherently transient. You watch a particularly large, majestic cloud formation. It seems so solid, so real, so permanent in its current grandeur. Yet even as you observe it, you can see its edges, softening its form, subtly shifting. The wind, that ever-present sculptor of the Tibetan landscape, is gently reshaping it, pulling wisps from its edges, creating new patterns. Within minutes, its grand form might be completely altered, or it might have merged with other clouds, or even vanished altogether. So it is with our lives, with our experiences, moments of joy, moments of sorrow, periods of ease, periods of difficulty. They all arise, stay for a while, and then pass, making way for something new. This contemplation of the changing sky offers a moment for deep self-reflection and compassion. Think of times in your own life when you have resisted change, when you have clung tightly to something you cherished, only to experience pain when it inevitably altered or ended, or times when you desperately wished for a difficult situation to end, feeling trapped and frustrated by its seeming permanence. The sky above offers a gentle reminder, this too shall pass. There is a kindness in this truth. It means that even the most difficult storms in our lives are not eternal. They will eventually give way to clearer skies. Imagine your thoughts and emotions as clouds. Some days, your inner sky might be clear and bright. Other days, it might be filled with dark, stormy clouds of worry or sadness. If you identify with these clouds, if you believe you are the storm, then you suffer. But if you can remember that you are the sky, the vast open awareness in which these clouds arise and pass, then you can find a measure of peace, even amidst the turbulence. The sky is not harmed by the storm. It simply witnesses its passing. The colors of the sky also speak of impermanence. As the day progresses towards evening, the deep blue might begin to soften, taking on hues of lavender and rose near the horizon where the sun is setting. These colors are exquisitely beautiful, yet utterly fleeting. You can't grasp them, can't hold on to them. You can only appreciate their beauty in the moment of their appearing. So this teaches us the art of appreciating the present moment, knowing that it is precious precisely because it is transient. The effort here is to keep your awareness open and receptive to this constant flow of change, both in the sky above and by extension in your own inner and outer world. It's the effort of mindful observation without judgment. The surrender is in letting go of the need for things to be fixed, permanent, or predictable. It's a yielding to the natural rhythm of arising and passing of creation and dissolution. As you continue to watch the sky, let its vastness and its ever-changing nature expand your perspective. The solemn ritual you are distantly observing is itself a profound acknowledgement of impermanence, a way of meeting the ultimate change of death with wisdom and acceptance. The sky, in its silent, majestic dance, provides the perfect backdrop, the perfect teaching. It doesn't mourn the passing of its clouds. It simply makes space for new ones to form. Allow the peace of this understanding to settle into you. When you truly accept impermanence, a great burden can be lifted. The struggle against the inevitable lessens. You can begin to flow more easily with the currents of life, like the clouds drifting effortlessly on the wind. This acceptance is not a passive resignation, but an active, wise engagement with reality as it is. And in this acceptance, there is a deep, quiet joy, a serenity that comes from being in harmony with the fundamental nature of existence. The impermanent, ever-changing sky becomes a gentle lullaby, soothing your mind into a state of profound calm, preparing you for the deep rest that mirrors its own boundless peace. The sky above continues its silent, majestic dance of impermanence, its shifting clouds and changing hues, a constant reminder of the transient nature of all things. Your gaze, while still aware of that vast celestial canvas, now returns with a gentle focus to the distant gathering on the elevated ground. The sacred mountain silence persists, yet within it a profound and ancient ritual is unfolding the offering to the sky. With deep reverence and from this respectful distance, you witness the ultimate act of generosity, the final return of the physical body to the embrace of nature, a practice that embodies a profound understanding of life, death, and interconnectedness. The figures move with a solemn grace that speaks of deep tradition. Though the specific details are obscured by distance and the respect you maintain by not approaching too closely, you sense the profound significance of their actions. This is not a mournful or fearful occasion in the way some cultures might experience a funeral. Instead, there is an atmosphere of practical compassion, of a deep spiritual understanding that transcends conventional attachments to the physical form. The core teaching embodied in this ritual, known as jadar or sky burial, is the practice of dana or generosity in its most ultimate form. The deceased, having no more use for their physical body, offers it as a final act of sustenance to other living beings. In this case, the vultures, who are seen in Tibetan Buddhism not as harbingers of death, but as sacred dakinis or sky-goers beings that help to transport the consciousness or essence. It is an act rooted in the understanding of impermanence. The body is just a temporary vessel, and compassion extending goodwill even in death. You might imagine the prayers that have been said, the mantras chanted to guide the consciousness of the departed. The focus is not on preserving the physical form, but on facilitating the smooth transition of the spirit and on benefiting other beings. This is a radical letting go, a profound non-attachment to what was once a cherished human form. It challenges many deeply ingrained societal norms about death and the body, inviting a much wider, more ecological, and spiritually integrated perspective. As you observe from afar, try to connect with the intention behind this act. It is an offering made from a place of wisdom, recognizing that all things are interconnected. The elements that made up the physical body will now be reabsorbed into the cycle of life, nourishing other creatures, becoming part of the earth and sky once more. There is a beautiful, unsentimental poetry in this. It is a direct confrontation with the reality of death, not as an end but as a transformation, a returning. This is a moment for profound self-reflection and compassion, particularly towards any discomfort or unfamiliarity this ritual might evoke in you. Western sensibilities are often very different regarding the deceased body. It is natural to feel a sense of strangeness or even to recoil slightly from the idea. Meet these feelings with gentle understanding. Remind yourself that this tradition comes from a culture with a deep and ancient spiritual heritage, one that has contemplated the nature of life and death for centuries. The effort here is to suspend judgment, to observe with an open mind and a respectful heart, seeking to understand the underlying wisdom rather than focusing on the external form of the ritual. Consider the concept of attachment to the physical body, our own and those of our loved ones. So much of our identity, our fear of death, is tied to this physical form. The sky burial offers a powerful counterpoint, suggesting that our true essence is not limited to our flesh and bones. It is an invitation to contemplate what truly endures beyond physical existence. Imagine the wind which you felt as a constant companion on this plateau. It now plays a role in this sacred offering, carrying away any lingering sense, and in a symbolic sense, helping to disperse the elements. It is part of the purification part of the return to nature. The vastness of the sky itself becomes the ultimate resting place, open, boundless, and free. The scene, though solemn, is not one of despair. There is a sense of completion, of a cycle fulfilled. The offering is made with dignity and respect, not just for the departed, but for the beings who will receive this final gift. It is a powerful demonstration of the Buddhist principle of benefiting all sentient beings. As you continue to witness this from your quiet, respectful distance, allow the profound implications of this act of generosity to settle into your awareness. It's a stark reminder of our own mortality. Yes, but more than that, it's an invitation to live with less attachment, with greater generosity, and with a deeper understanding of our interconnectedness with all of life. The offering to the sky is not about an ending, but about a continuation in a different form, emerging back into the vast, compassionate embrace of the universe. Let this powerful image of ultimate giving, of selfless offering, soften any resistance within you, opening your heart to a wider, more encompassing view of life and death, and fostering a deep sense of peace that comes from aligning with these profound natural cycles. The profound act of the offering to the sky continues to unfold in the distance, a testament to ultimate generosity and the deep acceptance of impermanence. The vast Tibetan sky, witness to countless such returns, arches above its immensity, reflecting the boundless nature of consciousness that this ritual acknowledges. As you observe, your contemplation naturally deepens, moving towards the inner meaning of this practice, the profound letting go of form, the release of attachment to the physical self, as complete and unresisting as a single feather given willingly to the wind. You bring your awareness to your own physical body, resting here on this high plateau. Feel its weight, its warmth, the subtle sensations of aliveness, the gentle rhythm of your breath, the soft beat of your heart. This body has been your companion, your vehicle for your entire life. It has experienced joy and sorrow, strength and vulnerability. It is natural to feel a deep connection, even an identity with this physical form. The core teaching here is an extension of non-attachment, specifically as it relates to the body. The Buddha taught that clinging to the 5 aggregates form the body: feelings, perceptions, mental formations, and consciousness as a permanent solid self is a root cause of suffering. The sky burial, in its stark and powerful way, directly confronts the attachment to form. It demonstrates a profound understanding that this physical body, like a worn-out garment, is ultimately to be laid aside. The true essence, the stream of consciousness, continues, but the form is relinquished. Imagine holding a single, delicate feather in your open palm. It is light, beautiful in its intricate structure, yet ephemeral. When a gust of wind comes, if you try to cling to the feather, to hold it back, you create a small struggle. But if you simply open your hand further, if you willingly offer the feather to the wind, it is lifted effortlessly, dancing and swirling, becoming part of the air, part of the sky. This is the quality of letting go of form that the sky burial embodies: a willing, peaceful release, not a sorrowful loss. You reflect on the many ways you might cling to your physical form, perhaps through vanity or fear of aging or anxiety about illness, or perhaps through a subtle, unexamined assumption that I am this body. These attachments, while natural, can create a great deal of underlying tension and fear, especially as the body inevitably changes and ages. The practice of contemplating the release of form, as inspired by this Tibetan tradition, is not about becoming morbid or rejecting your body, but about cultivating a healthier, more spacious relationship with it. It's about appreciating it as a precious temporary gift without mistaking it for your ultimate identity. This is a moment for deep self-compassion. It is a profound and sometimes challenging contemplation. If feelings of fear, sadness, or resistance arise as you consider the impermanence of your own physical form, meet these feelings with utmost kindness. Acknowledge them gently. It's natural to feel this way. This body has been my home. Offer yourself comfort. The aim is not to force a detachment, but to gently loosen the grip of identification, to create a little more space around the idea of my body. Consider the elements that make up your physical form: earth, water, fire, air, and space. These elements are borrowed from the universe, constantly in flux, and will ultimately return to it. The body is a temporary manifestation, a beautiful, intricate dance of these universal constituents. When you see the body in this way as part of a larger, ongoing cosmic process, the sense of a separate, isolated me that is solely defined by this form begins to soften. The wind, still whispering around you, seems to carry this message of release. It doesn't mourn the leaf that falls from the tree. It simply carries it, allowing it to return to the earth to nourish new life. Similarly, the sky burial tradition sees the body's return to nature not as an end, but as a participation in the ongoing cycle of giving and receiving of transformation. The effort here is the mindful contemplation of your body as impermanent form. It is the gentle questioning of your identification with it. The surrender is the allowing of this truth to sink in the release of the deep-seated clinging to the body as a permanent self. It is trusting that your true worth, your true essence, is not diminished by the transience of your physical shell. As you continue your mindful rest, imagine that any tension you hold related to your physical body, any worry about its appearance, its health, its eventual demise, can be softened, can be offered up, like that feather to the gentle wind. Feel a lightness emerging as you loosen this grip. This doesn't mean neglecting your body. On the contrary, appreciating its precious temporary nature can lead to even greater care and respect for it while you have it. But it's a care free from anxious clinging, a care rooted in wisdom and acceptance. This profound letting go of form, inspired by the distant ritual and the vast open sky, creates an incredible sense of freedom. When you are less identified with the transient physical self, your mind becomes more spacious, more peaceful, less burdened by the fears that so often accompany our bodily existence. This inner spaciousness is a perfect state for drifting into deep, untroubled sleep, your spirit as light and free as a feather on the wind. The distant ritual continues a profound statement of release against the vast backdrop of the Tibetan sky. Your mind, having contemplated the letting go of form, now turns its gentle attention to the sacred birds, the vultures that are an integral part of this ancient tradition. From your respectful distance, you begin to understand them not as mere scavengers, but in the symbolic light of Tibetan Buddhist wisdom as dakinis, or sky dancers, powerful spiritual energies in female form messengers that transform essence and facilitate the soul's journey within the great cycle of rebirth. The vultures, or gyak go in Tibetan, begin to circle high above their forms, dark silhouettes against the bright sky. They descend with a kind of majestic patience, an innate understanding of their role in this sacred drama. Their presence might to an uninitiated eye seem stark or even unsettling, but within the context of this tradition, they are seen as holy beings performing a sacred function. The core teaching here is about transmutation and the interconnectedness of life and death viewed through a lens of profound spiritual symbolism. The dakini in Tibetan Buddhism is a powerful and often fierce embodiment of enlightened energy, a sky-goer who traverses the realms of existence and helps to cut through delusion and attachment. By associating the vultures with dakinis, the tradition elevates their role from a purely biological one to a deeply spiritual one. They are not just consuming flesh, they are seen as facilitating the liberation of consciousness from the confines of the physical body, carrying the essence upwards, skywards into the realm of transformation. Imagine these birds not with fear or aversion, but with a sense of respect for their place in the natural order and their symbolic role in this spiritual worldview. Their keen eyesight, their ability to soar to great heights, their role in clearing away what is no longer needed, all these can be seen as metaphors for spiritual qualities, clear-seeing wisdom, transcendence, and the purification of obscurations. The fierce aspect, often associated with dakinis, is not malevolence, but the fierce energy needed to cut through ignorance and clinging. You reflect on how different cultures imbue natural phenomena with meaning. What one culture might see as an omen of death, another sees as a sacred agent of transformation. This invites a moment of humility and openness to diverse ways of understanding the world and the great mysteries of life and death. The effort here is to look beyond your conditioned responses, to try and perceive these beings through the compassionate and wise eyes of the tradition you are witnessing. This is a moment for deep self-compassion. If the image of vultures is challenging for you, acknowledge that. It's a potent symbol and it can stir deep-seated feelings. Be gentle with yourself. The invitation is not to force an immediate acceptance, but to simply consider a different perspective, to open a small space in your mind for the possibility that these creatures in this context represent something sacred and transformative. It's about stretching your understanding, your capacity for seeing beauty and meaning, even in aspects of nature that might initially seem harsh. Consider the cyclical nature of existence, a central theme in Buddhist thought samsara. Life feeds on life. Energy is constantly being transformed. The vultures in this sacred act are participants in this great cycle. They return the elements of the physical body to the ecosystem, ensuring that nothing is wasted, that life continues in new forms. Seen in this light, their role is one of profound ecological and spiritual service. They are agents of impermanence, yes, but also of renewal. The wind, which you have felt as a constant presence, also plays its part here. It carries the scent that draws the birds, and it will eventually disperse the last physical traces. It is an ally in this process of transformation, a breath of the universe that facilitates the return. As you observe these Dakini vultures from afar, try to feel a sense of gratitude for their role, however unfamiliar it may seem. They are performing a compassionate service, not only for the deceased by facilitating the release of their consciousness, but also for the living by providing a stark and powerful reminder of impermanence and the importance of non-attachment. They teach a lesson that is hard to ignore, a lesson written against the vast canvas of the sky. The effort in this contemplation is to shift your perception to imbue these beings with the sacred meaning that the tradition accords them. The surrender is in letting go of any preconceived notions or aversions, allowing yourself to see them as powerful symbols of transformation and release. It's about recognizing that even in what might seem like the end of a physical life, there is a sacred process at work, a continuation of energy, a participation in the vast interconnected web of being. By understanding the vultures as dakinis, as sacred messengers, the entire ritual is imbued with an even deeper layer of spiritual significance. It is not just a practical method of disposing of the dead in a land where burial or cremation is difficult, but a profound spiritual practice, a final teaching, a compassionate offering. This understanding helps to dissolve fear and replace it with a sense of awe and respect for the intricate, often mysterious ways in which life and death, spirit and nature are interwoven. This transformed view can bring a sense of peace, knowing that even in the most challenging aspects of existence, there can be found a sacred purpose and a path to liberation. The sacred dakinis, the vultures, have performed their transformative role, and the profound ritual of the offering to the sky is nearing its completion. A sense of deep quiet settles over the distant scene, a quiet that feels different now, emptier, yet somehow more spacious. Your attention turns fully to the wind, that constant companion on the Tibetan plateau. It seems to sweep across the elevated ground with a renewed purpose, and you begin to feel it not just as moving air, but as a great purifier, a compassionate force that carries away all that is gross and heavy, all attachments and sorrows, leaving behind a profound sense of openness and space. The wind, which earlier sang a distant song and then softened in reverence, now feels like a cleansing breath. It rushes over the sacred site, not with violence, but with a thorough, encompassing sweep. Imagine it gathering up any lingering traces of the physical, any residues of form, and lifting them into the vastness of the sky. But more than that, imagine it also carrying away the intangible, the echoes of grief, the tendrils of attachment, the weight of worldly concerns that might have clung to the departed, and even the sorrow of the living observers. The core teaching here is the purifying power of awareness, and letting go, often symbolized by the element of wind or air in Buddhist thought. Just as the wind clears away dust and debris, so too can a mindful, non-attached awareness clear away the mental and emotional defilements that cloud our innate clarity and peace. The wind in this context becomes a powerful external metaphor for an internal process of purification and release. You feel this wind on your own skin, a cool, fresh touch. With each gust, invite it to carry away any tension you might be holding in your body, the tightness in your shoulders, the clenching in your jaw, the subtle knot in your stomach. Let these physical manifestations of stress and worry be offered to the wind to be dispersed and dissolved into the vastness. Then extend this invitation to your mind and heart. Are there any lingering sorrows, anxieties, or regrets that feel heavy within you? As the wind sweeps across the plateau, imagine it gently lifting these burdens from you, carrying them far away until they become too small to see, eventually vanishing into the immense blue. This is not about suppressing or denying these feelings, but about willingly offering them up to a compassionate, purifying force, trusting that they can be released. Consider the idea of space. When a room is cluttered, it feels constricted, heavy. When it is cleared, it feels light, open, and full of potential. The wind, in its purifying action, creates this sense of inner space. It doesn't destroy what was there. It simply carries away what is no longer needed, what is obscuring the natural spaciousness of your being. This is akin to the Buddhist concept of shunyata, or emptiness, which is not a void, but a boundless potentiality free from fixed and heavy conceptualizations. This is a moment for deep self-compassion. Letting go can be difficult. We often cling to our sorrows and attachments because they are familiar or because we feel they define us. Be gentle with yourself in this process. If you find it hard to release something, don't force it. Simply set the intention, may this burden be lightened. May the wind carry away what I am ready to release. Even a small willingness to let go can create a significant shift. Imagine a traditional Tibetan thangka painting, perhaps of a wrathful deity. These deities, though fierce in appearance, are often expressions of compassionate energy, their wrath directed not at beings, but at the delusions and attachments that cause suffering. They are purifiers. The wind, in its powerful sweeping action, can be seen as embodying this fierce, compassionate, purifying energy, cutting through the bonds of attachment and clearing the path to liberation. The effort here is the conscious intention to release, to offer up your burdens to this cleansing wind. It's the willingness to let go of what no longer serves you, what weighs you down. The surrender is in trusting the wind's power to carry these things away, in believing that you can be free from them. It's a surrender to the natural process of purification and renewal. As the wind continues its sacred work on the distant charnel ground, feel its effects within your own being. Feel a lightness emerging, a sense of clarity, a newfound spaciousness in your mind and heart. The air around you, the air you breathe, feels cleaner, fresher, imbued with a sense of peace. The horizon seems to expand, both externally and internally. The wind carries all. It carries the dust of mountains, the seeds of new life, the prayers from fluttering flags, and now it carries away the remnants of form, the echoes of sorrow. It leaves behind a landscape and a mindscape that is open, refreshed, and ready for what is new. This profound sense of being cleansed, of being unburdened, is deeply conducive to rest. When the inner space is clear and open, the mind can settle easily, like a dust mote gently coming to rest in a still, sunlit room. Allow this purifying wind to be your gentle guide into a state of profound, uncluttered peace. The purifying wind has swept through, carrying away all that was heavy, leaving behind a profound sense of clarity and openness, both on the distant sacred ground and within your own being. The sky above seems even more vast, more luminous, in the wake of this cleansing. As you rest in this newfound spaciousness, your contemplation naturally drifts towards one of the most profound and subtle teachings of Buddhism, shunyata, often translated as emptiness or voidness. Here on this immense Tibetan plateau, surrounded by the boundless sky and the silent ancient mountains, you are invited to feel into the living reality of emptiness, not as a nihilistic void, but as the very ground of being from which all forms arise and to which they ultimately return, a boundless potentiality. The landscape itself speaks of shunyata. The vast open spaces between the mountains, the seemingly endless expanse of the sky, the deep silence that holds all sounds, these are all manifestations of a kind of emptiness that is not lack, but rather a fullness of unimpeded potential. The ritual you have witnessed, the return of form to the elements, is a powerful illustration of this principle. The body, once a distinct form, has dissolved its elements, merging back into the larger emptiness of nature, from which new forms will eventually arise. The core teaching of shunyata is that all phenomena, including ourselves, are empty of inherent independent existence. Things do not possess a fixed, unchanging, standalone self-nature. They arise dependently in relationship to countless other causes and conditions. They are in essence empty of a separate self. This is not to say that things don't exist, but that their existence is relative, interdependent, and impermanent. Understanding this can be incredibly liberating, as it frees us from the illusion of a solid, separate self that we then feel compelled to protect and defend, a self that is the source of so much of our clinging and aversion. Imagine looking at a single wave in the ocean. The wave has a distinct form, a temporary identity. But is it separate from the ocean? No. It is made of ocean water. It arises from the ocean and it returns to the ocean. It is empty of existing as a wave, independent of the ocean. So it is with all forms. They are like waves on the ocean of emptiness, the ocean of pure potentiality. You gaze at the distant mountains. They appear so solid, so real, yet they too are empty of inherent existence. They are a temporary confluence of earth rock minerals shaped by wind water and geological forces over eons. They exist in dependence on these conditions. If you were to break a mountain down into its smallest constituent particles, you would not find a mountain essence that exists independently. This contemplation of emptiness can bring a profound sense of peace and release. If there is no solid fixed self to defend, then what is there to be anxious about? If all things are impermanent and interdependent, arising and passing like waves, then why cling so tightly to them? This doesn't lead to apathy, but to a more spacious, less reactive way of being in the world. This is a moment for deep self-compassion. The concept of emptiness can be intellectually challenging and even emotionally unsettling at first, as it can feel like it negates our sense of self. Be gentle with yourself. The understanding of shunyata is not meant to be grasped purely by the intellect, but to be felt, to be experienced as a liberating truth. If it feels too abstract, simply rest in the feeling of vastness and openness that the Tibetan landscape evokes. That feeling itself is a taste of emptiness, the emptiness of constraints, the emptiness of a heavy, burdensome self. Consider the sky again, that immense open canvas. It holds all the clouds, all the storms, all the sunlight, yet it remains untouched, unchanged by them. The sky is a beautiful metaphor for the mind that has realized emptiness. It is open, spacious, allowing all experiences to arise and pass without clinging or aversion, without being defined or disturbed by them. The effort here is a subtle one. It is the effort to loosen your conceptual grip on a solid, separate self and on a world of solid, separate objects. It is the effort to see the interconnectedness, the impermanence, the empty nature of all phenomena. The surrender is in letting go of the need for things to be fixed and predictable, the need for a permanent me to hold on to. It is a surrender to the mystery, to the boundless potentiality that shunyata implies. As you rest in this vastness, to allow the feeling of emptiness to permeate your being, not as a cold void, but as a warm, liberating spaciousness. Feel the boundaries of yourself soften and become more porous. Feel your connection to the earth, the sky, the wind, to all of life. You are not separate from this vast, unfolding dance of existence. You are a part of it, a temporary, beautiful expression of it. This deep understanding, or even just a felt sense of emptiness, can be profoundly restful. When the mind is not struggling to maintain a rigid sense of self, when it is not caught in the anxieties of protecting that self, it can relax deeply. It can become as vast and peaceful as the Tibetan sky. This is the ultimate letting go, the ultimate surrender, and in that surrender, there is boundless peace, a perfect prelude to the deep, dreamless sleep where the illusion of a separate self dissolves completely for a time. The profound sense of shunyata, the liberating emptiness, which is also boundless potentiality, continues to resonate within you like the deep hum of the universe itself. The vast Tibetan sky, a perfect mirror of this teaching, stretches endlessly above. From this understanding of emptiness, your awareness now naturally flows into the practice of non-attachment's gentle breath. Here you learn to consciously release your grip on what you might be clinging to from the past, memories, identities, even the experiences of this meditative journey, and to breathe into the fresh, open freedom of the present moment, which is continually being born anew. You remain settled in your comfortable resting place, the cool, thin air a constant reminder of your presence on this high plateau. The wind, that tireless messenger, still whispers around you, no longer just purifying, but now also inviting a deeper level of release, a more subtle letting go. The core teaching here is a practical application of understanding impermanence and emptiness, the cultivation of non-attachment viraga, or nekama, in a moment-to-moment way. Having witnessed the ultimate letting go of physical form in the sky burial, and having contemplated the empty interdependent nature of all phenomena, you now bring this wisdom to the more subtle attachments of the mind. These are the clingings to past experiences, whether pleasant or painful, the holding on to outdated self-images, or even the attachment to future expectations. All these forms of clinging create a kind of inner stickiness, a resistance to the natural flow of life, which is always in the present. The practice of non-attachment's gentle breath is simple yet profound. With each exhale, you consciously let go. You imagine your out-breath carrying away any residue of the past that you are still holding on to. Perhaps it's a lingering regret, a cherished memory you replay too often, a sense of grievance, or even just the mental chatter about what has already happened today or in this meditation. Whatever it is, as you breathe out, offer it to the wind, let it dissolve into the vastness. The effort here is the gentle, repeated intention to release. With each inhale, you breathe in the freshness of the present moment. This moment, right now, is new, unburdened by what came before, full of possibility. You breathe in a sense of openness, of spaciousness, of simply being here now without the weight of the past. This is the surrender aspect, surrendering to the continuous unfolding of the present, trusting that this moment is complete in itself. Imagine you are holding a series of objects in your hands. Some are beautiful, some are heavy, some are broken. As long as you keep clutching them, your hands are not free to receive anything new. Non-attachment is like gently opening your hands, allowing those objects to be set down one by one with each exhale. Your hands, your mind then become light, open, ready for what this present moment has to offer. You might reflect on the story of the monks crossing a river. They used a raft to get to the other side. Once there, the Buddha asked if they should then carry the raft with them on their land journey. Of course, they said no. The raft had served its purpose. Our past experiences, our old identities, our former beliefs can be like that raft. They may have been useful, even essential for a time, but if we continue to carry them when they are no longer needed, they become a burden. Non-attachment is the wisdom of knowing when to set the raft down. This is a moment for deep self-compassion. Letting go of attachments can be challenging, especially if they are deeply ingrained or emotionally charged. Be kind and patient with yourself. If you notice resistance to letting go of a particular thought or memory, don't judge yourself. Simply acknowledge the attachment with kindness. I see I am still holding on to this. That's okay. And then with your next exhale, gently renew the invitation to release, even if it's just a little bit. The practice is not about forceful eradication, but about a gradual, gentle loosening of the grip. The sky burial itself is a powerful teaching in this regard. The family and community, while honoring the departed, engage in a profound act of non-attachment to the physical form, and by extension to the person as they were in that form. They are not trying to hold on to what is gone, but are facilitating its transition, its return to the elements. This allows for a healthy grieving process that is not mired in prolonged suffering filled clinging. As you continue to breathe, exhaling the past, inhaling the present, feel a sense of lightness and freedom emerging. Your mind, less cluttered by the baggage of yesterday, becomes more spacious, more available to the richness of now. Worries about the future also tend to diminish because the future is largely a projection of past experiences and present anxieties. When you are fully present, the future loses some of its fearful charge. This practice of non-attachment's gentle breath is a direct path to inner peace, and therefore to restful sleep. When the mind is not constantly replaying the past or anxiously anticipating the future, it can settle into a state of profound calm. It becomes like the still surface of a mountain lake, reflecting the clarity of the present moment without distortion. Allow each breath to deepen this sense of release. With every exhale, let go a little more. With every inhale, welcome the peace of this moment. You are unburdening yourself, becoming lighter, freer. The wind whispers its encouragement, and the vast Tibetan sky holds you in its spacious embrace. In this state of gentle non-attachment, your mind is perfectly prepared to drift effortlessly into the restorative depths of sleep, unencumbered and at peace. Having practiced non-attachment with each gentle breath, releasing the hold of the past and opening to the freshness of the present, you feel a profound sense of lightness and space. The vast Tibetan plateau, with its interconnected mountains, sky, and wind, now serves as a perfect teacher for the next stage of your journey, understanding interbeing. Here you are invited to sense the intricate woven threads of interconnectedness that link all of life, recognizing that nothing exists in isolation. This realization fosters a deep sense of belonging and a boundless, compassionate awareness. You rest in this expansive landscape, your senses open. The wind that touches your cheek is the same wind that has brushed the prayer flags, caressed the sacred mountains, and carried the scent of distant juniper. The earth beneath you supports not only your own form, but countless other beings, seen and unseen. The sunlight, even as it fades, has nourished the hardy plants that cling to life here, which in turn may have fed small creatures, which in turn become part of the larger ecosystem that includes even the sacred vultures. Everything is connected. The core teaching here is pratityasamutpada, often translated as dependent origination or interconnectedness. It's the profound understanding that all phenomena arise in dependence upon multiple causes and conditions. Nothing exists independently by itself. Everything is related to everything else in a vast, intricate web of mutual causality. The sky burial ritual itself is a powerful illustration of this. The physical elements of one being are returned to nourish other beings, demonstrating the continuous flow and interrelation of life and death, matter and energy. Imagine looking closely at a single prayer flag. It seems like a distinct object, but its existence depends on the fabric from which it's made, the dyes used for its color, the hands that sewed it, the wind that makes it flutter the prayers imprinted upon it, and the tradition that gives it meaning. If you remove any of these conditions, the prayer flag as you perceive it ceases to exist in the same way. It is empty of independent self-nature and full of everything else in the universe. Extend this understanding to yourself. You are not a separate, isolated entity. Your existence depends on the air you breathe, the food you eat, which comes from the earth sun, and rain, the people who have influenced you, the culture you live in, the very planet that sustains you. You are a node in an infinite network of relationships. When you breathe in, you are taking in the atmosphere shared by all beings. When you breathe out, you are contributing to it. This realization of interbeing can be a source of profound comfort and connection. It dissolves the illusion of separation that often leads to feelings of loneliness, alienation, and fear. If you are interconnected with all things, then you are never truly alone. You are part of a vast cosmic family. This is a moment for deep self-compassion. Sometimes, the sheer scale of this interconnectedness can feel overwhelming, or the idea of not having a solid, separate self can be disconcerting. Be gentle with yourself. The invitation is not to lose your sense of individuality, but to expand it to see that your individuality is not a barrier, but a unique expression within a larger whole. If it feels too abstract, simply focus on one small connection, the way the ground supports you, the way the air fills your lungs. Start with what is tangible. Consider the wind again. It has traveled from afar carrying moisture seeds, scents, and perhaps even the subtle energies of distant places and beings. It connects you to things you cannot see, to events happening beyond your immediate perception. It is a constant reminder of the unseen threads that weave the fabric of existence. The compassionate return of the wind, which we will explore more fully later, is itself an act of interbeing. What is given out eventually returns transformed. The sky burial, by returning the body to the natural elements and to other beings, consciously participates in this web of interbeing. It is an acknowledgement that even in death we contribute to the ongoing flow of life. It's a powerful statement against the illusion of ultimate separation. The effort here is to gently expand your awareness beyond your personal limited sense of self, to look for and appreciate the connections that sustain you and link you to the world around you. The surrender is in letting go of the feeling of being an isolated individual and instead resting in the comforting embrace of this vast, interconnected web. It's a surrender to the truth that you are far larger, far more interwoven with the universe than your everyday mind might perceive. As you rest here, feeling the pulse of life on this high plateau, allow this sense of interbeing to permeate your awareness. Feel your connection to the earth, to the sky, to the wind, to the distant mountains, and in your heart to all sentient beings who share this journey of existence. This deep feeling of interconnectedness naturally fosters compassion because you realize that the joys and sorrows of others are in a subtle way your own. When one part of the web is touched, the entire web vibrates. This understanding that you are not separate but intrinsically part of a vast, compassionate whole is profoundly peaceful. It relieves the burden of an isolated self struggling alone. It opens the heart and calms the mind, creating a perfect condition for drifting into a sleep that is not an escape, but a deep, trusting immersion in the interconnectedness of all that is. The profound realization of interbeing of the woven threads connecting you to all existence now settles into your heart like a warm, comforting blanket. The vast Tibetan landscape, a testament to this interconnectedness, holds you gently. From this space of deep connection, your awareness naturally turns inward towards the tender landscape of your own heart, inviting the practice of self-compassion's warmth. Here you learn to hold any remaining grief, fear, or unease that the journey or life itself may have stirred within you, allowing the gentle healing balm of kindness to soothe and reassure your spirit. You are resting peacefully, the cool air carrying the scent of distance and the faint, almost imperceptible hum of the wind. The sky burial, with its stark confrontation of mortality and impermanence and the subsequent reflections on emptiness and interbeing, may have brought subtle emotional currents to the surface, perhaps a touch of sadness for the universality of loss, a flicker of fear regarding your own transience, or even just a sense of awe that leaves you feeling a little vulnerable. All of these are natural human responses. The core teaching here is karuna compassion, directed first and foremost towards oneself. Often we are quick to offer compassion to others, but find it difficult to extend that same kindness and understanding to ourselves, especially when we are feeling vulnerable or facing difficult emotions. Buddhist wisdom emphasizes that true compassion for others can only fully blossom when it is rooted in a genuine and gentle relationship with oneself. If your own well is dry, you cannot offer water to others. The practice of self-compassion is an active, gentle effort. It begins with acknowledging whatever you are feeling without judgment. If there is a shadow of grief, simply note, there is grief here. If there is a tremor of fear, fear is present. You don't try to push these feelings away, nor do you wallow in them. You simply recognize their presence with a kind accepting awareness, much like you noticed the clouds in the sky earlier. Then you offer yourself warmth and understanding. You might place a hand gently on your heart, a physical gesture of comfort. You can silently offer yourself phrases of kindness, similar to those used in loving kindness practice, but tailored to the present moment. May I be gentle with myself in this feeling. May I hold this sadness with tenderness. It's okay to feel this fear. May I find courage and peace. The effort is in the sincerity of the wish, the genuine intention to soothe and support yourself. The surrender aspect is in letting go of self-criticism or the expectation that you shouldn't be feeling what you are feeling. You surrender the need to be strong all the time, the need to have it all figured out. You allow yourself to be human with all the messy, beautiful, and sometimes painful emotions that entails. Self-compassion is not about self-pity or indulgence. It's about treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer to a dear friend who was suffering. Imagine you are holding a small, frightened bird in your hands. You wouldn't scold it for being afraid. You would hold it, gently speak to it softly, offer it warmth and safety until its trembling subsides. This is how you can learn to hold your own difficult emotions with gentleness, patience, and unwavering kindness. The sky burial, while a profound act of generosity and acceptance, is also a ritual that acknowledges loss. Grief is a natural part of letting go. If observing or contemplating this tradition has stirred any echoes of past losses or anticipated grief in your own life, this is a precious opportunity to meet those feelings with self-compassion. Allow the warmth of your kindness to be a safe space for these emotions to simply be without needing to fix them or make them go away. Often, When feelings are met with acceptance and compassion, they naturally begin to soften and transform. Remember the vastness of the Tibetan sky, the strength of the mountains. These qualities are also within you. Your capacity for awareness, for compassion, is as vast as the sky. Your inner strength, your resilience, is as enduring as the mountains. Self-compassion helps you to connect with these inner resources. The effort of self-compassion is not always easy. Sometimes the inner critic is loud or old patterns of self-neglect are strong. Be patient. Each small act of self-kindness is a seed planted. The surrender is in trusting that this kindness is healing, that it is what you truly need and deserve, especially when you are feeling vulnerable or facing the great mysteries of life and death. As you continue to rest, breathe in warmth and kindness for yourself. Breathe out any lingering tension or self-judgment. Allow your heart to soften. Allow yourself to receive your own compassionate care. This inner warmth is deeply nourishing, deeply calming. It creates a sanctuary within a place of safety and peace, no matter what challenges you may face. When your heart is held in this tender, compassionate embrace, the mind naturally settles, and the path to deep restorative sleep becomes smooth and inviting, like being gently rocked in the loving arms of your own kindness. Having enveloped yourself in the healing warmth of self-compassion, feeling your own heart soften and find solace, your awareness naturally begins to expand outwards once more. The vast Tibetan plateau, a landscape that has taught you about interconnectedness and the boundless sky, now inspires you to extend the peace and kindness you've cultivated within towards all beings. This is the practice of compassion's boundless reach, where your peaceful heart, nurtured by self-acceptance, radiates outwards wishing freedom from suffering for every living entity seen and unseen. You rest in the stillness, feeling the gentle thrum of the wind, a constant reminder of the currents that connect all life. The experience of the sky burial, while deeply personal in its contemplation, also speaks to a universal truth. All beings experience birth, life sickness, old age, and death. All beings desire happiness and wish to avoid suffering. This shared vulnerability, this common aspiration, is the ground upon which boundless compassion can grow. The core teaching here is Maha Karuna, or Great Compassion, which is the spontaneous wish to relieve the suffering of others arising from a deep understanding of inner being and emptiness. It's not pity, which can imply a sense of superiority, but a profound empathy and active desire for others' well-being, recognizing that their suffering is in a sense inseparable from our own. Having tended to your own heart with kindness, you are now more able to authentically extend that care to others. The practice begins by bringing to mind those closest to you, family, friends, loved ones. Picture them in your mind's eye and with genuine sincerity, offer them wishes for their well-being and freedom from suffering. May you be free from suffering and its causes. May you find peace and happiness. Feel the warmth in your heart as you extend these wishes. The effort is in the focused intention, the genuine well-wishing. Then gradually expand your circle of compassion. Think of acquaintances, neutral people you encounter in your daily life. Offer them the same heartfelt wishes. This may require a little more conscious effort, as the emotional connection might not be as strong, but the intention remains the same. You are cultivating an impartial kindness. The next step, often the most challenging, is to extend compassion to those with whom you have difficulties, those who may have caused you pain, or those whose actions you find hard to understand. This is where the practice truly stretches your heart. It doesn't mean condoning harmful actions, but it means recognizing the suffering, ignorance, or delusion that may be driving those actions, and wishing for that being to also be free from their own inner turmoil. Even may you be free from suffering. May you find peace. This is a profound act of surrender, surrendering your grievances, your anger, your desire for retaliation, and choosing instead the path of compassion, which ultimately frees your own heart as well. Finally, extend your compassion to all beings everywhere without exception. Imagine your heart as a radiant sun sending out waves of warmth and light to every corner of the universe. To humans, animals, spirits, beings in all realms of existence, those near and far known and unknown, born and yet to be born. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings experience peace and well-being. This boundless aspiration connects you to the vastness of life itself. The sky burial in its essence is an act of compassion. The offering of the body provides sustenance for other beings, helping to alleviate their hunger, their suffering. The prayers and rituals performed are intended to benefit not only the deceased, but all sentient beings by dedicating the merit of the virtuous act to their liberation. This is a moment for deep reflection on the power of compassion. It is not a finite resource that gets depleted. Rather, the more you practice it, the more it grows like a muscle that strengthens with use. It transforms your perception of the world from one of fear and separation to one of connection and care. The effort is the consistent, gentle radiation of these wishes. The surrender is entrusting the inherent goodness of this aspiration, even if you don't see immediate results, and letting go of any feelings of overwhelm at the sheer scale of suffering in the world. Your compassionate wish, however small it may seem, adds to the light. Imagine the wind, that ever-present element of your journey, now carrying these wishes of compassion on its currents. It sweeps across the plateau, over the mountains, across the oceans, touching every living being with your heartfelt prayer for their peace and freedom from suffering. Your personal peace, cultivated through self-compassion, now becomes a gift offered to the world. As you rest here, bathed in the soft light of your own compassionate heart, feel the profound sense of connection and purpose that this practice brings. You are not just a passive observer of life, but an active participant in its healing through the power of your intention. This boundless compassion creates a deep sense of inner calm and contentment, a feeling of being aligned with the noblest aspirations of the human spirit. This state of expansive, peaceful benevolence is a perfect gateway to deep restorative sleep, a sleep that not only renews your own being, but also in some subtle way contributes to the peace of the world. The boundless reach of your compassion has extended outwards like ripples on a vast calm lake, touching all beings, with wishes for peace and freedom from suffering. The Tibetan plateau, bathed in the soft, pre-dawn light, or the deep velvet of a starry night, holds you in its serene embrace. Now your attention is drawn once more to the wind, that constant, faithful companion of your journey. It seems to be returning not as a new gust, but as if the very air that carried your compassionate intentions outwards is now cycling back, bringing with it a subtle message, a whispered wisdom. This is the wind's compassionate return, a feeling that what is given freely and with love does not diminish, but rather enriches the giver and the world, creating a cycle of peace and continuity. You feel the wind on your skin, perhaps a little softer now, a little more gentle, as if imbued with the warmth of the compassion it carried. It's no longer just the wind of the high mountains, but a wind that has traveled, that has touched the hearts of many, even if only in your intention, and now returns to you, subtly changed, enriched. The core teaching here is about the reciprocal nature of compassion and the interconnectedness of cause and effect karma in its broadest non-punitive sense. When you send out thoughts and intentions of kindness, peace, and compassion, these energies don't just vanish into the void. They create ripples in the vast field of consciousness, affecting both the sender and the perceived recipient. The return of the wind is a poetic way of experiencing this subtle truth that the peace and goodwill you cultivate and offer to the world also nurtures and sustains your own inner peace. It's not a transactional return, but a natural resonance, a harmonious echo. Imagine the wind as a vast invisible river of energy. Your compassionate thoughts are like pure, clear water poured into this river. They merge with the flow, contributing to its overall quality, and inevitably, the enriched waters of that river touch your own shores again. What you offer with a pure heart comes back to you not necessarily in a direct material way, but as an inner state of well-being, a deepening of your own capacity for peace and joy. This is not about expecting a reward for being compassionate. True compassion is unconditional, but there is a natural consequence to cultivating wholesome states of mind. Just as planting seeds of anger and resentment will yield a bitter harvest in your own heart, planting seeds of love and compassion will naturally create an inner garden of beauty and peace. The wind's compassionate return is the gentle fragrance of that garden carried back to you. This is a moment for quiet gratitude and self-reflection. Acknowledge the journey you've taken tonight, from witnessing a profound ritual of letting go to contemplating deep spiritual truths to cultivating boundless compassion. Feel a sense of gentle appreciation for your own willingness to engage with these themes. The peace you may be feeling now is in part the compassionate echo of your own open heart. Consider the prayer flags again, those vibrant messengers on the wind. Each time they flutter, they are said to release the prayers and mantras printed on them into the world, carried by the wind to benefit all beings. The wind doesn't just take, it also distributes its shares. And in that sharing, the original intention is amplified, spread far and wide. Your compassionate thoughts are like those prayers, and the returning wind brings back a sense of that shared blessing. The effort here is subtle. It is the effort to remain open and receptive to this gentle return, to acknowledge the subtle sense of peace or warmth that may arise as a natural consequence of your compassionate practice. The surrender is in trusting this process, in believing in the power of kindness to create a positive feedback loop within your own being and in your connection to the world. It's a surrender to the inherent goodness that arises when you align yourself with compassionate intentions. The sky burial, as stark as it may be, is ultimately an act aimed at a positive continuity, the continuation of the consciousness stream of the deceased towards a favorable rebirth, and the continuation of life for the beings who receive the offering. There is a sense of cycles of giving and receiving that is fundamental to this worldview. The wind's compassionate return is a part of this cyclical understanding. Nothing is truly lost when given with a pure heart. It simply transforms and returns in another guise. As you rest, feeling this gentle returning breeze, let it be a confirmation of the peace you have cultivated. It's not a dramatic or loud return, but a soft whisper, a subtle reassurance that your journey into compassion has borne fruit within your own heart. This feeling of being gently held by the compassionate currents of the universe of which your own kindness is a part is deeply soothing, deeply calming. It's a feeling that eases all anxieties, dissolves all remaining tensions, and prepares you for a sleep that is not just restful, but also imbued with a quiet, pervasive sense of interconnected, loving peace. The wind itself becomes a lullaby, whispering of continuity of kindness and of the gentle, enduring power of an open heart. The wind's compassionate return has graced you with its gentle presence, bringing a sense of peace and the quiet reassurance that kindness freely given enriches all. The vast Tibetan plateau, now perhaps touched by the very first, almost imperceptible hint of dawn, or still cradled in the deep starlit silence of the night, feels like a sanctuary of profound integration. Here in this space of serene completion, you begin to dissolve into peace, integrating the experiences and wisdom of your journey. You feel the burdens you carried, of attachment, fear, or misunderstanding, lighten considerably, perhaps even vanish, as you more fully accept the natural flowing rhythm of life and death, of being and non-being. You are resting in a state of deep calm, your body relaxed, your mind quiet and open. The entire journey of this mindful sleep story, from the initial arrival on the windswept plateau through the witnessing of the sky burial, the contemplation of impermanence, emptiness, interbeing, and the cultivation of compassion, has been a process of gentle unfolding, of gradually peeling away layers of resistance and misconception to reveal a more peaceful, accepting core. The core teaching here is about integration and the resulting sense of liberation. The insights gained are not meant to remain as mere intellectual concepts, but are to be absorbed into your very being, transforming your way of relating to yourself and the world. This integration naturally leads to a lightening of spirit, a release from the habitual burdens we often carry. As you accept the flow of life with its inherent impermanence and interconnectedness, the things that once seemed so heavy and problematic lose their power to disturb your inner peace. Imagine you have been walking a long path, carrying a heavy backpack filled with stones, stones of worry, stones of regret, stones of fear, stones of attachment. Throughout this journey, with each insight, with each practice of letting go, you have been gently removing these stones one by one. The stone of attachment to form was lightened by witnessing the sky burial. The stone of a fixed, separate self was eased by contemplating emptiness. The stone of isolation was dissolved by understanding interbeing. The stones of harsh self-judgment were warmed and softened by compassion. Now your backpack feels significantly lighter, perhaps almost empty. The effort here is a very soft, receptive one. It's the effort of allowing these truths to settle deeply within you, to permeate your cells, your consciousness. It's not about striving to get it perfectly, but about resting in the wisdom that has been uncovered, allowing it to become a natural part of your inner landscape. The surrender is in trusting this process of inner transformation, in allowing yourself to be changed by what you have experienced and understood. It's a surrender to the peace that arises when you stop fighting reality and instead flow with it. Think of a cup of tea. After the tea leaves have steeped, infusing the water with their flavor and essence, they are removed. What remains is the clear, fragrant tea. Your mind, having steeped in these profound teachings and practices, is now, like that clear tea, imbued with wisdom, clarity, and a subtle fragrance of peace. The leaves of old unhelpful patterns have done their work and can now be gently let go. This is a moment for profound gratitude and self-acceptance. Acknowledge how far you have come, not just in this meditation, but in your broader journey of seeking peace and understanding. Appreciate your own courage in facing these deep themes of life and death. The peace you are experiencing is a testament to your own inner work, your own willingness to open and learn. The distant ritual of the sky burial, once perhaps a source of unfamiliarity or even discomfort, may now be seen with different eyes as a powerful expression of wisdom, compassion, and acceptance of life's natural cycles. The wind, once just moving air, has become a messenger, a purifier, a carrier of compassion. The mountains and the sky, once just a backdrop, have become teachers of impermanence, emptiness, and vastness. This shift in perception is the fruit of integration. As you rest in this deep state of peace, feel any remaining burdens simply dissolving like mist in the morning sun. There is nothing to hold on to, nothing to resist. You are flowing with the great river of existence, and in that flow there is profound ease. The acceptance of life's flow doesn't mean passivity or resignation in a negative sense. It means engaging with life from a place of wisdom and non-resistance, which allows for more skillful and compassionate action. This dissolving into peace is the natural culmination of your journey. The mind, unburdened and clear, finds its natural state of equilibrium. The heart, softened by compassion, is at ease. The body, deeply relaxed, is ready for profound rest. You are no longer striving, no longer resisting. You are simply being in a state of quiet, open presence. This is the peace that passes all understanding, a peace that is your true nature, always available beneath the surface turbulence of daily life. Allow this peace to envelop you completely, to cradle you as you drift effortlessly towards the healing sanctuary of sleep. The process of integration has left you in a state of profound peace, feeling burdens lighten and dissolve as you accept life's natural flowing rhythm. The Tibetan plateau, in its vastness and clarity, has been your guide and sanctuary. Now, as you rest in this deep serenity, your awareness itself begins to mirror the boundless expanse around you. Your mind becomes like the open sky, vast, clear, and undisturbed, reflecting the ultimate freedom that these teachings offer. You are lying or sitting in perfect stillness, your breath a soft, almost imperceptible whisper. The boundary between your inner world and the outer landscape feels increasingly porous, almost non-existent. The vastness of the sky above is no longer just something out there. It is also the quality of your own awareness, your own mind. The core teaching here is the realization of the luminous mind, or clear light mind, Pabasara in Pali Osul, in Tibetan, which in many Buddhist traditions is considered the fundamental nature of consciousness. This mind is inherently pure, radiant, and spacious like a clear sky. It can be temporarily obscured by passing clouds of defilements, greed, hatred, delusion, worry, attachment, but its essential nature remains unstained, always present beneath those clouds. The entire journey you've undertaken with its practices of letting go, compassion, and wisdom has been about clearing away those clouds to allow this natural luminosity and spaciousness to shine forth. Imagine your mind as the sky you have been observing throughout this night. It has witnessed the arising and passing of clouds, thoughts and emotions, storms, difficult experiences, and the serene beauty of starlight or dawn. Yet through it all, the sky itself remains unchanged, unperturbed. It has the capacity to hold everything without being defined or damaged by anything. Your mind, in its deepest nature, has this same sky-like quality. The effort here is almost an effortless effort. It is the gentle resting in this open sky-like awareness. It's no longer about actively doing a practice, but about being in the state that the practices have revealed. It's the subtle intention to remain open, to allow your awareness to be as vast and boundless as the sky itself. The surrender is complete, a surrender to your own true nature, a letting go of any remaining identification with a small constricted self, and an embracing of this radiant emptiness, this luminous clarity. Think of a perfectly still, clear mountain lake. Its surface reflects the sky, the mountains, the trees, with perfect fidelity, without distortion. When your mind is sky-like, it has this quality of clear reflection. It can perceive reality as it is without the distortions of fear, craving, or judgment. This doesn't mean thoughts won't arise. Even in the clearest sky, a wisp of cloud might appear, but they no longer have the power to obscure the vastness. They are seen for what they are: temporary formations in an infinite space. This is a moment for profound, quiet joy and gratitude. To touch even briefly this sky-like nature of mind is a deeply healing and liberating experience. It is the peace that the Buddha spoke of, a peace that is not dependent on external conditions, but arises from the very nature of awareness itself. Feel a sense of homecoming, of returning to a truth that has always been within you, waiting to be rediscovered. The sky burial, in its ultimate act of letting go of form, points towards this understanding. When the attachment to the temporary form is released, what remains is the boundless nature of consciousness, as vast and free as the sky to which the offering is made. The wind, carrying all before it, purifies and reveals this underlying spaciousness. As you rest in this state, feel any final vestiges of mental contraction also dissolve. There are no limits, no boundaries to your awareness. It can encompass everything: the vastness of the universe, the smallest detail of your present experience, with equal ease and equanimity. This is not an achievement of your personal ego. It is a recognition of the universal nature of mind. This sky-like mind is the ultimate refuge, the ultimate ground of peace. It is from this place of boundless clarity and stillness that deep restorative sleep can arise most naturally, most effortlessly. It is like the sky itself at the deepest point of night, utterly still, profoundly dark, yet holding the promise of 1,000,000 stars and the dawn to come. Allow yourself to merge with this vast open sky-like awareness. Let go of all doing, all striving. Simply be this luminous emptiness, this peaceful clarity. There is nothing to seek, nothing to attain. You are already that which you have been seeking. Rest in this knowing. Rest in this peace. This is the ultimate preparation for a sleep that is not just an absence of consciousness, but a deep immersion in the very ground of being as peaceful and boundless as the Tibetan sky. Your mind, vast and clear as the boundless Tibetan sky, rests in profound peace. The journey through the stark beauty of the plateau, the solemnity of the sky burial, and the deep wells of Buddhist wisdom has led you to this place of serene openness. Now, as the final stage of this mindful sleep story unfolds, the wind, your constant companion, becomes a gentle lullaby. Its compassionate return, having carried your intentions and brought back echoes of peace, now dedicates its soothing breath entirely to guiding you into the deep restorative embrace of slumber. You are enveloped in a profound stillness, the kind that precedes the deepest sleep. The air around you feels soft, like a silken veil. The wind, which has been a messenger, a purifier, and a symbol of interconnectedness, now transforms into the gentlest of caresses, a whispered song dedicated solely to your rest. The core teaching here is the natural culmination of mindful practice, the effortless transition into deep rest when the conditions for peace have been thoroughly cultivated. Having cleared the mind of agitation, softened the heart with compassion, and understood the transient, interconnected nature of reality, there is nothing left to obstruct the body's innate desire for sleep. The wind's lullaby is not a new practice, but the gentle, inevitable outcome of all the efforts and surrenders you have engaged in tonight. Imagine the wind is now a soft, warm breath, rhythmically flowing around you, through you. With each sigh of this gentle wind, feel your body becoming heavier, softer, sinking more completely into the support beneath you. With each whisper, feel your mind letting go a little more, drifting further from the shores of wakefulness towards the calm ocean of sleep. This wind carries no more dramatic messages, no more challenging contemplations. Its only purpose now is to soothe, to comfort, to lull. It's like a mother's gentle hand stroking a child's forehead, a quiet hum that reassures and calms. The effort, if any remains, is simply to allow this soothing, to receive this gentle care. The surrender is complete, a full yielding to the pull of sleep, trusting that you are safe held and deeply cared for by the benevolent forces of the universe, symbolized by this compassionate wind. Remember the prayer flags, their colors now, perhaps softened by the dim light. Imagine their gentle fluttering is the rhythm of this lullaby, each movement a soft note of peace, a wish for your deep and untroubled rest. The vastness of the sky, which your mind now mirrors, becomes the boundless space in which you can drift without fear, without constraint. This is a moment of profound allowing. You have done the work of observation, of contemplation, of cultivation. Now you simply let go and allow nature to take its course. Sleep is a natural process, as essential and as wise as breathing. When the mind is at peace, the body knows how to find this profound state of renewal. The sky burial taught of returning the physical to the elements. In a gentler, nightly way, sleep is also a return to a primal state of rest where the conscious mind relinquishes control and the deeper restorative processes of the body and psyche take over. The wind, in its final lullaby, facilitates this gentle return. Feel any last vestiges of thought, becoming like distant, fading stars, their light too faint to hold your attention. Feel the sensations in your body becoming diffuse, melting into a general feeling of warmth and heaviness. The boundary between yourself and the peaceful night around you becomes increasingly blurred. You are part of the stillness part of the quiet part of the vast, gentle breath of the sleeping world. The wind's lullaby is not just a sound, but a feeling of being utterly safe, completely accepted, and profoundly at peace. It whispers of the continuity of life, of the compassionate heart of the universe, and of the simple sacred gift of rest. Allow this whisper to be the last sound you consciously hear, the last sensation you consciously feel as you drift effortlessly like a boat on a calm, moonlit sea into the deep harbor of sleep. As the wind's lullaby becomes almost inaudible, a mere breath against the silence of the deepest night, your awareness too softens and dissolves. The landscapes of Tibet, the profound teachings, the sacred rituals, all gently fade like a dream upon waking, leaving only a residue of profound peace, a quiet knowing in the heart. There is nothing left to do, nothing to hold on to. You are adrift in a vast ocean of calm held by an unseen loving presence. The journey of the night has reached its destination, this quiet sanctuary of perfect rest. Every muscle in your body is loose and heavy. Every thought has stilled. Your breath is a shallow, gentle tide, rising and falling in the rhythm of deep slumber. The compassionate wind has done its work, guiding you with unwavering gentleness to this place of healing and renewal. It now merges with the universal breath, the silent pulse of the cosmos, as you too merge with the profound stillness. You are safe, you are whole, you are at peace. May your sleep be a journey into the heart of serenity, a place where your body, mind, and spirit are completely restored. May you awaken refreshed, renewed, and carrying the quiet light of this journey within you, ready to meet the new day with a peaceful heart and a clear mind. The stars watch over you, the ancient mountains stand guard, and the spirit of compassion cradles you as you sleep.